Hello, hello. I hope you are having a kick-ass day. Happy Friday. It's always such a good day when it's Friday, isn't it? I love it. So today we're going to be talking about the secrets to successfully scaling your business. And really truthfully, we tend to overcomplicate things. We tend to think that, in order to do X, Y, Z, we're going to have to do this, that, and the other thing. Like, we're very much taught about working hard in order to create success in life. It's one of those things that typically gets drilled into us, whether that's hard in terms of like physical labor or hard in terms of like, you got to use your brain in really intense ways. And I'm absolutely an advocate of fitness, move your body. And that may be physically in your business, but, and also, keeping your mind sharp and all of those things. However, in business, the last thing you want to do is make it hard or complicated, because when it's hard or complicated, it's really difficult for you to grow it, for you to be committed to it, for you to be sustainable with it. And as soon as you hit this threshold in your business where you're ready to delegate, where you're ready to bring on a team, where you're like, yeah, let's hire some people, let's get them on board. Is it going to be harder to bring them on board and have them do the job correctly if there's like 60 steps involved to them completing the task, or if there's maybe 3 steps involved? 3, right? It's going to be so much easier if there's 3 steps. They're going to be so much more likely to be able to fulfill it. There's going to be less mistakes. There's going to be less things going wrong. The bigger a corporation grows, the more complex it gets, even in simplicity. So we really have to make sure, what are the bare bones things that need to get done? And that's not to say you need to cut corners and you need to do, you need to do all of those types of things, but it's really about what are the things that are superfluous, which really aren't serving a purpose, because we tend to do busy work. And this has to be one of those things you pay attention to now when you're a solopreneur, or where you've just got like maybe a VA, or you've got maybe one employee. This is the time to assess this. This is the time to make the changes to simplify your business, and simplify it in all areas. Take your sales process and look at it. Is it super complicated? Are there a million steps involved, or is it like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, like really simple, to the point, easy to follow? You can teach somebody to do that. If it's super complicated, you bet people will miss steps. You would even miss steps if you weren't so like drilled into it. In fact, you may even miss steps knowing it as well as you do, because as soon as it's complicated, there's more likely to be an error. Right? And this is the same thing in anything that's created in life. It's one of the reasons why, we're always redesigning engines, for example. They're always looking for new ways to make them more efficient and work in better ways, and not to break down so much. Like, these are things that are always being reassessed, because every moving part in an engine has the potentiality to break down. And as soon as there's one part that's not working, it can make the entire thing not work. And that's how it happens in your business. So we have to be very aware of, where do I need to cut things out which really don't need to be there? Where am I overcomplicating it? And how can I simplify it? Simplification sounds easy, but a lot of times it can actually feel harder than making it this big, complex monstrosity. It can also be difficult to trust that a simple process can produce exceptional results. Truthfully, the best businesses in the world, they have broken it down into simplest components. Imagine for a moment that you have grown your corporation, it's done really well, and you've got 1,000 employees. First of all, there's no way that you can talk to all 1,000 employees every day and be like, here's what we need to do today. Yeah, you can send an email, you can do those things. Not everybody reads the memos. Really important to know, you have to make sure that things are set out in a way where it's very clearly articulated what's needed. One of the best ways you can train people is actually through showing them what to do. And if you have an online business, for example, screen share, like that is such a great way to do it. If you can pull up a video, like, record your screen while you're doing something and talk somebody through it, like, so it's recording your voice, and you've got like a 1 to 2 minute max video that shows them, here's how we do this process and here's why it works, and in 1 to 2 minutes, they can quickly like absorb that and replicate it. What most people want to do is they want to create this big, complicated plan. They've got this guidebook that's 100 pages long, which who the fuck's gonna read that thing? And even if they do read it, because you've got super employee of the flippin' year, They're still not going to retain it all because the human mind just doesn't work that way, and they will make mistakes. And if they make a mistake, how much longer is it going to take them to go and find out what the mistake was if they have to go through a 100-page guide versus a 2-minute video? If I mess up and I'm like, oh shit, I got to revisit the video, it's only 2 minutes of my time. And hey, when you're an employer, that's time you're paying for. So you want to make sure that you are making things effective and streamlined and simple. And that makes it easier for everybody involved. That way there's less chance for errors. So we want to make sure these systems are coming on all formats. So whether that's your HR department, whether that's your sales department, marketing, all of it, how can you simplify your business? Start to question your processes and ask what's really critical here and what's something that's actually not really producing results or not really critical or actually could be, part of another step and I've just made it more complicated. Like, start to ask those questions, because sometimes we feel like we're more successful if we're doing something that's hard and complicated and nobody else could do it, but you can't grow that way. You really can't. You're putting limitations on yourself. So that's a really big part of it. Simplification. We want to have simplification in business. This is where success is bred from. The other thing in growing and scaling your business is having a clear and concise vision. It's really difficult to grow something if we don't know where we're growing to. What is the thing that we are trying to accomplish? Sometimes that's monetary. And of course, a business, money is a big driving factor, but there can be other elements that you bring in. Maybe you've noticed that you have a 20% customer loss rate over a 3-month span, and you want to narrow that down to a 5% loss. That's another trackable metric that you can go after. It still, of course, affects the bottom line, but it gives everybody in the company focus. It means, okay, we need better customer service. We need to improve the HR department. It means we need to be clearer in our marketing messaging, in our sales processes, so people don't get what they ordered and go, oh shit, this isn't what I thought it was. So clarity and communication. It also comes from making sure your product or service is functioning properly, finding out why people are leaving, doing those kind of investigative things. So there's so many different things where we can track in a business, but it's about having that vision, that laser focus. If everybody knows, like, this is what our goal is, and you're moving towards it as a team, that's exciting. That's something that's fun. And the same thing, even if you're a solopreneur, you having focus and where you're going is crucial, because otherwise, yeah, you may make some progress, but it's not going to be what you could have achieved had you had specifics in place. Specifics are just the linchpin in having massive success. As the saying goes, aim for the stars and land on the moon. You may not hit that goal. Like, let's use that goal of we want to go from a 20% loss to a 5% loss. Well, maybe you get it down to a 9% loss instead. But hey, holy crap, you just saved 11% of your loss. That is now customer retention. Holy shit, that's amazing. But had you just said, oh, we want to save a few more customers, it's unlikely you'd even move that needle 1%. So we really need to be aware that setting specific goals help us to move forward. It helps with precision and clarity, and it helps us to understand what are the things that I need to do right now to move forward in that way to reach those success points. So these are the things that are extremely important in moving forward: simplification and specific goals, clarity, vision. These are absolutely the things that help you to scale your business in a big way. And that all leads into communication as well. This is communication for yourself as well as communication with your team. They need to know what's going on. They need to know how are we moving forward, and communication also with your customers. Let them know what's going on. I would say that communication is probably one of the biggest errors that people run into in business. And as soon as we have a lack of understanding, that's where everything goes awry. This is where we have mixed memos. This is where people are doing things wrong and they don't know they're doing things wrong. Like, these are the things that are really important. We want to make sure we're very clear in what we are communicating so that people are all on the same page. So that's pivotal. So these are some of the things. These are some of the, behind the scenes things that not everybody considers, and they are actually quite simple things, but they're things that are overlooked. And one of the reasons businesses can tank when they start to expand, because these things are not focused on. And when you're growing from solopreneur to growing your business, to bringing people on, to delegating, or even having contractors, not necessarily employees, but contractors coming on, or even when you're organizing with a larger client base. We need to have these things in place so that you can grow in a streamlined way with less hiccups and errors and falling down, so that you can have that success and that it can be a consistent growth instead of a growing and coming down and growing and coming down and growing and coming down. Because that's what's typical of most businesses, is they hit a threshold, it all goes wrong, and then they plummet. And then they've got to pick themselves back up and get that momentum going. And that's hard. It's better to keep the momentum going. So start to think about what you can do in your business today to simplify it, to have specific goals, to have a vision in mind. Where are you going in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next year? Have that clarity in place. And then make sure that your communication, whether that is to yourself, whether that's to your clientele, whether that's to your employees or contractors, make sure that that is very clear so that everybody's on the same page and things can move in a very streamlined manner. These things will allow you to have expansion in a way that feels really good, in a way where you're having less hiccups, and you can just enjoy the ride. So that's it for today. You guys know we have the incredible Success Habit Incubator starting on Monday. Now, I've had a lot of people asking about this, and I've got a live video yesterday where I went over what it is, because it is not a course. This is not a course. This is actually something that's completely new that my business partner, Tony, and I have created. And it is all about accountability, getting into action. Because what I've seen, and what Tony has seen as well, we see year after year, so many people, they're investing in courses, they're going, they're taking it, they're learning all of the things, but they're not seeing the results. And part of this is because there is not a support system in place where we're actually going and being like, okay, here's the accountability, here's the day-to-day actions, here's the goal I want, here's how we reverse engineer it to actually go for it, and then having somebody there to make sure you're actually flipping doing it, because it's embracing new habits that really changes the game. But it's easier said than done. It's one of the reasons why most people by mid-January give up on their New Year's resolutions. It's not because they're lazy, it's because they're not using their minds in the way that they've been designed. Your brain is a very specific system for adopting new habits and also for getting rid of bad ones. And it's really important that we understand how to hack that so that you're using all of that in your favor instead of fighting against it, and then we lose the fight. So we're going to be going over how to do that. We're also going to be there to support you, to give all of our insights from having our multiple successful businesses. So you're going to have all of that at your disposal. And the cool thing here is, we originally talked about pricing this at $1,000 a month, but we wanted this to be accessible. We wanted this to be something where if you were ready to be done with any of your excuses, with any of the shit that's been holding you back, that you could jump into this, that it was completely accessible. So we've made it only $100 a month. And to give you some context, guys, if you work with me for a year, it's $75,000. This program, it's $1,200 for the entire year. You have access to me, you have access to Tony, you have this incredible community, and we're also going to have some incredible incentives for you to stay on track, because we both believe heavily in incentives. We know it's really the human nature, right? Like, it's one thing to hit our goal, which of course that's the main thing, is we want to hit the goal, but it's so much more juicy when we're also like, and I want to win that thing, because it's not about the thing that we're winning, even though these things are pretty cool. But it's really about the thing that's like, I earned this. I pushed through my bullshit. I showed up when I didn't want to show up, when it was inconvenient or expensive or time consuming or uncomfortable, and I showed up anyway and I did the thing, and yeah, I made it happen. That's what we want you to get addicted to, because that's what gets you to push through your thresholds. That's what gets you to get on the sales call that's uncomfortable, to grow your business, to lose the weight, to do the thing that you want to do. All of it all comes down to that. So we're really big on incentives. So I'm not going to give away all of the surprises here, because we really like having juicy surprises, but you can even win coaching calls with us. And, to give you, again, some reference, if you want to have a 1-hour coaching call with me, it's over $2,000. So for less than $1,200, you have a year of support with us. You have the structure that's going to allow you to move forward and hit those goals. You're going to be able to use all of that information from the books you've read and the courses you've taken in the past and actually implement them. So you see the results, you get the success, and you hit those goals, you crush them, and make this the best year you've ever had. So I'm so excited to jump in on Monday. We have an incredible group of people coming together for this, and we want to see you in there. We want to see you get in there and crush it and hit those goals. So if this is you, if you're like, fuck yes, I want this to be the best year of my life. This is the year. I'm done with my bullshit. I'm done with being stuck. I'm done with all of the learning that's not getting me anywhere. If that's you, send me a message. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure it's a good fit for you. I will drop the link below. This is the incubator for your dreams, for your success, for bringing it to fruition. I'm excited to work with you. So I hope you have an incredible afternoon. We'll talk soon, and let's see those habits put in place. Like, guys, these are the things that breed all of the success. So have a good one. We'll talk soon. Bye.